How's it going, everybody? It's Frisby Moonsong here. Yow! And today we had day one of Comicon, and it was really so awesome. Honestly, actually one of the most entertaining Comicons I've been to so far. 2022 Comicon is looking really good, and I really had a lot of fun today. We got a couple of cool things that you guys will see in a couple of videos in the future. A little bit of a hint, it's slightly furry. So moving on to what we did today. We only had a little bit of vlog today because we had, yes, the interview, as you guys know we were talking about earlier. So this video today is bringing you the interview from day one of Comic-Con. So you guys can check it out. A special thanks to Dalen Naidu for recording this. He did such a great job. I really appreciate it for you, man. Thank you so much for helping us with that. And yeah, check it out, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you in the next video.
We're going to talk about tabletop content creation.
Yes.
Frisby, how are you doing?
I'm very good, in yourself?
I'm doing very well. Now, please just explain to us all what you do. What is tabletop gaming specifically, so everyone knows?
Right, so tabletop gaming is more to do with any game you can have specifically on a table and nothing to do with electronics. So I started my YouTube channel doing mostly Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know if any of you have heard of it. Yes. From the old school anime back in the day, all the way now to what the card game is as we see today. So I've been doing that for well over a year now, I would say.
Fantastic. And is it just Yu-Gi-Oh! Or do you do other tabletop games?
So at the moment it is just Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm looking to in the future go into more, obviously when time permits it. But I also do a little bit of streaming with like some games, but for now I'm mostly focused on Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that's what I've been playing at least for most of my life. At least that's where I feel my profession is in when it comes to gaming and stuff like that.
Wonderful. And how long have you been making content for that? Content for that?
Content.
How long have you been making contact? So I know Yu-Gi-Oh! They throw like...
Yeah, you know, well, I wanted to start about 3 years ago, and I would start kind of on and off coming into the game, going out of it with regards to streaming and like putting up YouTube videos and stuff. But it eventually ended up that a year ago, so in 2021, I lost my job due to COVID, so I ended up doing the YouTube full time, and I managed to get myself a full PC off of like all the money I had made from UIF and everything, and I just used that to be able to build into this channel that was able to promote this game that's actually building up a lot in South Africa, and a lot of people have gotten the opportunity to get into this game and kind of find their own niche and find an escape, because especially after the COVID happened, a lot of people came into the game because a lot of people were like, we're sitting at home and now we've got load shedding on top of it. You know, what better way to do it than with actual cardboard? So yeah.
That's in your content. Does it focus on tutorials of the game, or just best moments in the game, or what exactly does it focus on? And also on the tabletop aspect, do you film yourself like playing it physically, or you do play it online even though it's a tabletop game?
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of vlogs and stuff because in Joburg there's a lot of places where you can actually have games itself. So if you check out Nexus Hub in Ferndale, or maybe Dragontown in Centurion, there's a lot of stores that we go to during the weekend to actually play. So I do a lot of vlogs, and I do like live duels and stuff like that so people can see, which is really nice for people to be drawn into this kind of community, because us as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Community in South Africa, we've actually created almost like this family bond, which is really nice, which I'm quite impressed by, and I've seen grow over the years. You know, it started off in Cape Town, that's where I originally started, and then moving into Joburg, I found it's actually built up a lot more, and we've created this beautiful family of people that work together really nicely. And even though we're in competition with each other, you know, it's still, we've been able to create this space, and now I've used that as a platform to invite more people in to grow the community in South Africa, because I feel like it can be as big as it's been in the UK, in America, you know, because there's been like real big prizes and stuff for things like this, and it's something to keep people distracted, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. I've actually been overseas before and seen like tabletop tournaments and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's really awesome when it can get going. And as you say, I mean, generic gaming is becoming bigger, and there's a whole bunch of esports and stuff, and surely something with tabletop gaming is the way to go. Now, I'm actually a Dungeons and Dragons nerd. I've been playing since I was like 10, and I haven't played since COVID came out. Yeah. But I did play it a lot, and I have been tempted to stream it, but I do always find challenges. I wouldn't even know where to start with a setup, a I mean, how do you guys go about filming your games?
Yeah, I also have a Dungeons and Dragons YouTube channel as well. So usually what I do for my own channel is I have just a normal backdrop and then I have it with the voices, because I feel like with the voices they can paint a mental picture in their head better, and then you just give like references of images. But I think if you had to have like a camera on each person, being able to see them, you won't have to see the board themselves. Because I think in games like this, in these tabletop games, it creates the opportunity for your imagination to take place and think more creatively. I mean, it's not like a normal coded computer game where you're limited to a certain amount of choices. The choices are like an insane, exuberant amount that you can go out and actually make these different creative choices that people can find really interesting. Yeah.
Wonderful. And what would be your advice for someone trying to get into tabletop? Are there online forums that they can join, or is it about going to the physical stores like you mentioned?
So I think it's good to go to the physical stores. So that's a good way to start, because you can find a community that will help you get into it in a more affordable way. But also on my channel, I do have a starter series that I've made up for people who want to get into it. So there's a way for like how to get into it in a way that's financially viable for like South African players especially. What a better way is to get into the competitive scene, because the competitive scene in South Africa has grown in leaps and bounds over the years, especially with regards to Yu-Gi-Oh, you know. So it's I think, come to my channel and I'll be able to help you with building that up. I even have an email address that you can email and help out, and a lot of the community at the stores will help you out as well.
That's one. And what is the best way for people to get a hold of you?
So you can check my email address. It's rmoonsong14@gmail.com, or you can check out my YouTube channel. You check out Frisby Moonsong, or my Facebook page, which is also Moonsong, and you can personally message me there, and I can help you out with getting to stores or building up the game or anything like that.
Wonderful. And then you mentioned you stream as well. Is that also on YouTube?
I do stream as well on Twitch. So I've done like Final Fantasy X, which is like one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my heart.
It's a wonderful game. I love Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like all the Final Fantasies has been great. Just the story. Square Enix is like the most amazing storyteller ever.
What was your first one?
10 was actually my first one. When I was in grade 2, I got my first...
So actually, weirdly enough, my first ever was FF7. I was playing games like Crash Bandicoot and Croc, and then I was like, wait, there are games that have stories?
7 was my second one, so that was like second, you know, in line. But first, I think number 10 was just close to my heart, and I never forgot about that. But I think with regards to like, with my streaming, I think most of the stuff I do now, I stream a lot of the online tournaments we have, because since COVID happened, a lot of the in-person play, which is what Yu-Gi-Oh is meant for, we weren't allowed to have that. So Konami, which is the actual company who created this game, they made this new thing called a remote duel.
Like Konami, like the company that makes Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, they make all the cards and everything, the same thing. And they made this thing called remote duels, where you could actually record your own playing field and play against someone from overseas and everything, which was really nice for South African players, because then we got the opportunity to play in these like really big events like YCS in Europe, and you have like over 2,000 to 3,000 players per tournament, which is insane. And then to see some of our players here even top events like that and make it into like top 32, top 16, it's just really amazing to see the skill level, and that somewhere as tiny as little South Africa, who's only starting up with these kind of tabletop games, you know, as of the UK and the USA, which are way ahead of us, we can still compete and we can still make it.
Is there like an official ranking system on Yu-Gi-Oh?
So I think with regards to, because in South Africa we have regionals which happen in like different provinces, and then there's also a nationals every year. So every year we have nationals, and then whoever wins the nationals ends up going to Europe. And then there is like a ranking system on the Konami website. So in South Africa, I think a lot of the time we deem the best player by who wins the nationals every year, and we deem it by like who's topping the most regionals, who's topping the most big tournaments that happen every like semi-quarter or whatever.
It's absolutely incredible. It always blows my mind how many different things there are going on. You know, so many people watch soccer or rugby or whatever.
Yeah,
like there is a Yu-Gi-Oh, a high-stakes Yu-Gi-Oh
it's really
happening right now.
Like
lives
the
are
prize
changing.
support that is actually given for these things is pretty incredible. Like for our national championships this year, the prize card that you get, which is only printed for those who win national championships, is worth about 30,000 rand, and you ended up getting like a Nintendo Switch.
Sorry, that's like a card, like a physical card from
A
the game.
physical card itself. So collectors will.
And I mean,
pay-
I was about to say, so if that's worth 30 grand now,
Yeah.
I'm sure like in a few years' time.
in a
you'll
few
probably-
years' time, you're winning a lot of, you're earning a lot of money. It's like a good investment for the future. And even like you win like Nintendo Switches, you get like cards with an insane amount of value. You also get like a cool trophy plaque, which is really amazing, and it's nice to display in your room to have that.
And you get to have the best time ever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, our nationals this year had about 110 players, which is really exciting, and it's growing bigger and bigger every year, which is really cool. And even though it was split into two, because they had one in Cape Town and one here, so altogether there were probably almost 200 players.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you obviously mentioned it's a lot larger overseas. Any
definitely.
idea what sort of like an overseas prize tally for the grand champion might be?
So I heard that like sometimes they give away like PlayStation 5s. I don't know, they give away. I haven't even seen half the prizes they give, but I remember in 2019, before COVID hit, in South Africa, we would get free trips overseas, which they didn't give this year, but I think moving forward, they're going to start giving it to us back. And the greatest part about it was being able to go over to Germany or like the London or something to play in these big tournaments. And the big tournaments there have like even way more cards than you could expect, and you also kind of get a sneak peek into the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! Of being able to see like what the next set is, and you get like priority to that next set, and also prize cards that are only printed once for that event, which are obviously like one of a kind, and value is insane. So
That's amazing. And so I mean, I don't know how the game works. So they continually refresh the cards that you can get. Does the dynamic of the game change every single time that drops out?
So over the years, the gameplay I think has become more complicated. It is no longer a children's card
Do you
game
ever get them
anymore.
like release like an expansion? What have they done?
Yeah, it's just like you have to have an English degree to do this, and you have to be able to do maths like at an insane level just to be able to understand how the game works now. But I think the people that do get into it and do play it, you realize like a lot of their cognizant abilities, especially with regards to their work and their school and stuff, actually improve a lot more because of the complexity of this game that it's created and how the power creep of cards is just built up over the years. It's just created, even though it's still interactive as it was before, a lot of people have said, oh, the game's kind of dying, but it's still as interactive as it was before in the day. It's just the interaction is now kind of different with regards to the speed and the tempo of the game.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your passion for this with us.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to let anyone know who would look to get into tabletop gaming?
I think just go for it. There's like a lot of people who are willing to help you. There's a lot of people who are willing to just give away free cards and free booster packs and things just to help you build up your collection, to get you started. Because we as a community, we want to grow. And I think the one important thing is you need to learn to find your tribe, because once you find your tribe of your people, that's where you become more comfortable, and that's where you are happy and you find your own happiness and your own joy. And that's what I want to build within this community. That's what I've tried to create with regards to the YouTube channel. People who have lost their tribe or don't know where they fit, try find a place for them to fit and feel at home and feel welcomed.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your passion. Thank you so much for joining us. People, if
Thank
you haven't
you.
gone to check out Frisby Moonsong's YouTube, go check it out. Go see
Yeah.
the tabletop games. And as I say, it sounds like an incredible thing. I'm definitely
It's amazing, yeah.
gonna
Thank
go
you
check
so
it out.
much.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you for your time, bud.
Thanks. Thank you guys. Thanks.
All right, folks, that's it for the content today. Thank you so much, everyone that's